Welcome to Watching the Horizon. I'm Jake. Ooh, that's not coffee. Hashtag not coffee. Well, I've had a couple comments going back through some of the old videos, you know, especially the ones where I'm talking about Bugout bags. And man, talk about a hot topic, you guys. Very, very opinionated. That's cool. So, what do you really need in a Bugout bag? Different people, different opinions, wildly different opinions on really what that means. So I guess let's define a couple of things here. Man, there's so many acronyms. It's kind of ridiculous, especially for your average Joe. You know, like the get home bag and never coming back again bag and the I don't know all that stuff. So we're gonna focus on bug out bags. Now, some people call them 72-hour kits. Some of them, some of the people out there, they think that you need to be able to survive off of your bag, and I am of the opinion that that is true to a degree, but really, let's take a step back here and let's talk about bugging out, or at least what that means. For me, bugging out means you're leaving home. You're evacuating. Maybe that's a better term instead of all the different bags. For the average Joe, we're going to call it an evacuation bag. So, just like when you're planning for a trip, do you pack your suitcase the same regardless of where you're going? Whether you're going to go cross country on a road trip, whether you're taking a plane, to vacation in the Bahamas, or maybe you're going to head up north in the middle of winter for the holidays. The trip dictates the bag, and this is no different in your emergency evacuation bug out bag. A couple of rules of thumb, I think pretty safe, is your bag needs to give you everything that you need to survive to get from point A to point B. And that's about it. That's really what it's for. It's not complicated, but you need to have somewhere to go. You might have a bug out bag and no bug out location. What's the point of the bug out bag if you have nowhere to go? Are you just going to go camping? In which case it's just a camping bag. So have a location. Have a bug out location before you have a bug out bag. Like, that to me seems very obvious, but maybe you've got an aunt that you can go stay with that lives out in the country, or maybe you own some property, or you've got a camping site in mind, or maybe that one time you went hunting and it was way back there, but you found the perfect spot and you're thinking to yourself, if anything happens, that's where I'm going. Okay, but have a location. Now that you have a location, we can start on your bag. Well, how long a trip are we talking about between here and there? Is it something that you can hike to in a day? Your bug out bag is going to look a heck of a lot different than somebody else who's looking at, a 2-day car ride to get there. So, again, the destination dictates the bag. I mean, if we're talking about like a 1-day hiking trip, you're probably not going to be packing a whole lot of food in that bag. You're probably looking at some shelter, some socks, maybe a tent, some maybe extra socks, some blankets, some fire starting kit. I mean, really what we're talking about is, a day trip. And then just imagine it's a day trip in the worst possible weather. What's for your region, for your location, what is the worst possible weather? Is it in the middle of winter in a blizzard? Or maybe that's not something that you have where you live. And so instead, worst possible weather would be, in the middle of the sun at 120 degrees, at midnight. So pack for the trip. The destination dictates the bag. I can already hear you. Oh, I can hear you. Yeah, but it should totally do this, and you should totally have that, and who are you? You're not special forces, and I was in the army for 50 years, and I know what I'm talking about. That's fine. And you know what? You're right. Whatever it is that you're typing right now in the description, you're absolutely correct. I agree with you. Fine. Now, move along. This video is for the rest of us. This video is for the average Joe. Maybe you're sitting in some suburban home. Maybe you're in the middle of the city. Maybe you're just, some dude works a 9-to-5 job and they're thinking, man, I'm a little worried because if things get hectic around here, I need to be able to leave. You're the people that I'm talking to. So get yourself a backpack. Make it a large backpack, but you don't need any kind of crazy rig with a frame, hiking crazy backpack. Mostly because that's a little too obvious. I mean, if you gotta go and all of a sudden it looks like, you got the straps on and you've got, the water tank and you've got the lantern hanging and the pickaxe. I mean, it's pretty obvious that you are chock full of supplies. And so therefore, you're going to be a target pretty quick. If you can get it down to like a single day pack, like a backpack you had, back in high school or college, something rugged, something sturdy. They make that, really durable nylon or denim or something, but, make it good. Make it a large size, but don't make it, something that screams, look at all the stuff that I have. Each person in your household should have their own bag. If they're old enough and big enough to be able to carry their own bag, they should. That's really going to help distribute your supplies across your entire family so that, if something should happen, maybe a slip and a fall and the bag gets lost, then at least you still have the other bags in the group that you can rely on. If you're going solo, that's cool too. So have a bag per person and everything that individual needs for the trip. So in your scenario, are you going to be walking? Are you going to be riding a bike? Are you really anticipating that the only way that this is going to work is if you do it by vehicle? So we could deep dive into each of those scenarios, but that's not really the purpose of this particular video. But as far as what should be in your bug out bag, in your emergency evacuation bag, cater it to the individual, cater it to the journey that you have planned based on the destination, based on the worst possible weather that you can expect. And that's what should go in your bug out bag. Anybody trying to tell you that you need this particular flashlight or you really need to have this, super special knife, they're just trying to sell you something. But if you look at videos of these long distance hikers, look at what they're carrying. We're talking they measure their bags, by the ounce, by the gram, because they realize that weight is the enemy. You need it as light as you can, and you need it to be able to carry everything that you need. So if you watch some of their videos on how they pack their bags, you know, I would imagine that it would be very similar. Usually very small amounts of fuel for cooking, usually not a lot of food they bring. When it comes to water, yeah, they're going to have some water bottles, but they're also going to have water purification devices, whether that be through filters or drops or whatever. The idea is you want to carry as little as possible, and if you already know the route that you're going to take, practice that route. Is there any water between here and there? And if there is, how reliable is that water during that worst possible weather situation? Is this something that maybe you need to prep ahead of time? Maybe put some caches en route between here and there if it's a particularly long journey? Or is it something that you can go ahead and get away with just packing everything up on the back and there you go? So anyway, all right. I know I've triggered a couple of you at least. Let me know. And tell me, what is the worst possible scenario that you foresee in a bug out situation? I'd like to know your thoughts. But anyway, I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to keep your eyes open.